Good afternoon, everybody. Just a few practical words before starting. We have more participants than expected. Therefore, if you have questions, we invite you to write those down in the Q&A bracket at the bottom of your screen. We'll highlight those questions, those recurring questions, and we'll try to provide you with accurate answers after the webinar. For those who would like to ask questions out loud to the panelists, please click on the raise hand icon at the bottom of your screen, and we'll pick a few of you during the Q&A after the presentations. So please stay with us. Nazir, please.
Sure. I think there was some problems there with Anthony's connection, but let me know on the Q&A if you can hear me okay. I've got a pretty strong connection on my side. 2020, unprecedented times. I don't think any of us would have been expected to be sitting here like this on a webinar on our daily routine, not being allowed out, not being allowed into the offices, and worrying about a global pandemic that is threatening us all across the world. It's tough times. And there's a lot of worry and concern for everyone, both from a health perspective, but critically also, I think, going forward from a business perspective and how the economy will look like today, tomorrow, and in the future. All I can think about, and I have thought a lot about this, is that it's going to be very different. But different to me is always very positive because different is opportunity. And I think as the weeks go by and we move from worrying about managing the risks of infection to worrying and thinking about how business will be conducted in the weeks and months to come, we'll start to understand that this has brought about many new opportunities. But critically at this time, what we need to ensure for all of our sakes is the continuity of our business. And all of us are impacted in many different ways. I have to admit, I'm astounded at the speed and the scale of the support measures that have been put in place across a variety of different departments in Luxembourg, most principally the government, the Chamber of Commerce, as well as others. And it just seeks to reinforce my view, as I often say, about the quality of the community here in Luxembourg. Some of you yourselves may have come up with some ideas as to how you may want to help, may want to contribute using your technology skills, using the capabilities of your business. We'd obviously be keen to hear on them. If you want to speak to us about it, do send an email to us at the support email address, support@LHoFT.lu. And we can discuss it. We're always keen to see how we can work together to get through this. But what we're here for today, we have two fantastic speakers who are sparing some of their time. They are still very, very busy. I've been speaking to both of them for the past 10, 15 minutes. And they're still very, very busy in business and supporting their customers. Frederick Becker from the Ministry of Economy and Jean-Luc Berms from BCEE. Frederick Becker will tell you broadly, and we'll kick off by talking about the broad range of support schemes that have been made available from the government. Fred is right now himself sitting in a help desk center in Cloche d'Or, where he's manning phone lines and taking calls from small businesses, asking questions and finding out how that they can be supported and how to navigate through these tough times. So without much further ado, I'll mute myself. I may disappear once in a while, but Fred Becker will kick us off, and I'll hand over to you, Fred. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nazir. I hope everyone can hear me. As Nazir said, I think there is really a commitment from our government, and I want to reiterate the commitment from our government to help businesses of all sectors, businesses of all sizes. And the government is really now in a situation where it takes action. Where it takes action at different levels, and where there are also more and more support schemes that will come out. So everything I will present to you right now is actually are the measures that are that have been decided so far. There is certainly more to come, but we will certainly stay in contact, myself with LHoFT, and provide you with updated information, especially on some of the state aid measures that I suppose that you will be very much interested in. I just will show you the. Oh, there is. I have an issue here with well, never mind. I'll kick off just by giving you an introduction on the various schemes that we have. The first scheme that I will tell you about is about the continuity of business, because that's also what Nazir just mentioned, which is very important to you, how concretely you can process the continuity of your business with measures that the government has put in place just recently. So one of the measures on continuity of business is, of course, that the government is encouraging homework, but not only encouraging, but has also put in place some measures in order to help you businesses to be able to pursue that. And there is certainly one measure that is an arrangement with neighboring countries regarding double taxation. And so far, Luxembourg has reached an agreement with Belgium as well as with France on a double taxation exemption for both. Let me also tell you that the government is working at present to discuss with, and this is at present in discussions with Germany in order to find a similar agreement than the one with Belgium and France. So very concretely, this measure gives you the opportunity to let your employees, whenever they are cross-border commuters, work from home without being double taxed. More than that, the government has also provided forms to pass borders. So there more info regarding this you can find on guichet.lu, but I will show you the links and websites that you can refer to just afterwards. In addition to that, the government has also decided an extension of visas for non-EU residents, meaning if yourself or your employees or your relatives are in a situation that they are non-EU residents, but their visa is about to expire, there is an exemption of that. So all of these can remain in Luxembourg for the time being. Another measure here on the continuity of your business is a measure that was introduced by the Ministry of Justice, which is a measure that allows you companies for your general assemblies and for your board meetings to hold those via video conferencing. So it is then possible to vote by using video conferencing, a bit like we are doing right now. And in addition to that, general assemblies can also be postponed if that is necessary, and that is also, even if it's not specified in the company documents, you can still postpone general assemblies. So those, just very briefly, were the measures specifically for the continuity of business. We also, just a second, I'll share to you right now just because that's certainly clearer. So this was the point that I just addressed on the continuity of business. I'll now switch over to a new exceptional measure that has been introduced, and I guess some of you are already familiar with. is the leave for family reasons, also called congé pour raison familiale. So the principle of it is that should you or your employees, because it's applicable both to employees and to self-employed people, and I think that is a question that is often raised, and both are eligible. And it's actually for parents of children of less than 13 years old with no other option to ensure childcare. So only one parent at the time is eligible, and it's also not cumulative, but with other measures. But it is certainly a measure that I think solves a lot of issues. Right now, and of course, if your employees are on the leave for family reasons, during that time they are then paid, if I can relate to it that way, paid by Social Security. That is actually the principle from it, and it goes beyond any other ceiling of days off for childcare. That is the principle of that measure. I'll then switch to everything that is more tax and VAT related, and there on the level of direct taxes, there has been a cancellation of the first and second quarter of advance payments for corporate tax and for municipal business tax, and this is just upon a cancellation request, where you have then the possibility to that you don't have to pay out those advancements. Then there is also a 4-month extension to the deadline of the payment of corporate and municipal and wealth tax that was normally due at the end of February, but that one is then postponed to 4 months without any, of course, any penalty or late payment. That one for direct taxes. On the side of VAT, there will certainly be more measures that are released, but so far the Luxembourg VAT authorities they reimburse right away any VAT credit that is below 10,000 euros. So should you have any credit in your favor, the government will no longer hold this 10,000, but pay it out right away. Will it pay it out right away to your companies? Yes. And then that one for taxes and VAT. And as I just pointed out, there might be more measures to come, and that will be announced. Then switching over to the fourth point, which is short-time work, so partial unemployment, as it is often also translated, or English, or chômage partiel. This is actually a measure that already existed before the current crisis, but it is a measure that with the aim to provide support to companies in the event of a downturn of activity. It was mostly used for manufacturing companies, but it has now been extended to every sector, and it is actually a measure where your employees would then be considered. So those that for whom there is, so to say, no work anymore, that would then fall on the partial unemployment, where the government could actually provide an aid, or it's even more than an aid. The government would, so to say, pay the salaries of the unemployed, of the partial unemployed short-time workers of your company, and that is up to 80%. So very concretely, the salary of that person would then skip to 80% of the full salary, which the government would then pay, and yourself you would then still have to pay for social security of affected workers. So here again, as I said, every sector is eligible. In case you are in, so you are in a sector that had to close because of a government decision, and I think the most obvious one is a shop, but I think none of you is in that situation. But just as an example, anyone that is directly impacted by the government decision, there is a simplified way of looking at it, because it's just a governmental decision, and everyone might be unemployed. If you are not in that situation, that you are impacted directly by a government decision, you can of course also benefit from it, but you would then have to more thoroughly explain why and how many of the staff needs to why they are impacted by short-term work. Yes. So this is one of the measures that's for the time being we had most companies calling us for especially especially companies that had to close, but not only these. Let me also another question that was always asked on short-time work is who is eligible, and it's actually in this case it is only eligible for employees. So it's not the self-employed or the self-employed management of the company. It is concerning this measure specifically for employees, and also for employees that the company will then have to commit that it will that these employees will remain within the company and will not be made redundant in the months to come. Which leads me then just quickly to social security. Social security, there have been, but just very briefly on social security. I'm also not a specialist on that one. That is another administration that is taking care of it, which is the CCSS. There, the CCSS has decided that it will suspend the calculation of default interest rate, or that it will also suspend the initial proceedings for forced collection of contribution or anything any other fines that might incur against a company, that they will suspend for the time being. So there, my message is that you can remain calm on that side. There is nothing where they would then, if the company runs into some partial difficulties, there they will suspend at least any kind of enforcement or interest rates that will then fall in the current situation. Then maybe the last point, which might be the one that most of you are interested in, which is the state aid. What I can tell you at current stage is that there will be an announcement made by the Minister of Economy. There will also most likely be measures be announced as well by the Minister of Finance, which will then be more on the banking side. But I leave that one to Jean-Luc, who is the specialist on the side of corporate banking. What I can tell you from our side, for the Ministry of Economy, is that the government has been working on the bill of law that is meant to help company with the state aid, and that one would also not only address companies and with employees, but as well self-employed people would also be able to benefit from that measure. and it would be a measure that will be meant to cover some operational expenses or operational expenses of the company, such as rent. So just as we have already the short-time work for when it comes to wages, here there would be an aid that would then compensate the other part of the company costs, which are then current expenses, so as I just said, such as rent. And here it would then also solve the so to say, the issue of short-term work that is not applicable to self-employed, and come up with a solution for the self-employed. So so far, so as I said, it will be announced before the end of the week, so most likely tomorrow or at latest on Friday by our minister. So far, just what I can disclose is that the European Commission has approved the measure, because, as you know, when it comes to state aids, this is always something very strict, where the EU Commission has to so to say, rules and regarding the conditions, or regarding what a member state can do. And there, the European Commission has already approved the measures that the Luxembourg government will present. So there is no barrier, no burden, no administrative burden on the side of Brussels to come up with that aid, and the aid will then can then be introduced quite swiftly. As you know, probably with the current state of emergency, anyhow, the bill of law, the procedure is much simplified to the usual procedure, and will not take months until it will pass the parliament, but rather days and weeks. So this is also very reassuring, and the grant that the company, that the government could grant a company, would be a kind of de minimis aid, as some of you are possibly already familiar with. But it will be a grant this time that could go up to 500,000 euros per company. As I said, stay tuned for more details. We will share them as soon as we have this information, because I don't have, as I said, more detailed information on it. It should be held as a repayable advance, but we don't have details as to how much is repayable advanced, when, etc. So these details they will follow as soon as the minister has announced all the details of that specific measure. What I also wanted to show you is actually where you find most of the information, which is actually where am I? I had the wrong one. Sorry for that one. Yes, it's actually stay tuned on government.lu. There you find you will have all the announcements of the government as soon as they are available. And what's maybe more interesting for you for detailed answers to questions, of course, feel free to ask them to me, or to reach out to me. But should you want to have a broader overview without without having to read the laws, the best is actually to go on to the Q&A section of our ministry, where we have really put together the most frequently asked questions, and And if there are other questions by you, we might even add them here. So here it's also constantly updated and it's available in English. So whenever we present the measure, for instance, you will have more information here in a more concise format than if you would have to read the law. And then very importantly, the guichet.lu, where you find forms such as forms that you need whenever your cross-border commuters have to cross the border these times. So all those forms are also available, everything in English as well on guichet.lu. So that's all I have to tell you at this point. As I said, there's more to be released, and let me just for those that joined maybe a bit later, reiterate really our will from the side of the government to assist all you businesses in the best way that we can. So without further ado, I'd switch then to Jean-Luc. Jean-Luc, can you hear me?
I'm okay. Can you hear me as well? Okay, thank you. So thank you for being able to explain you a lot of things. I will just open my presentation. Perfect. Well, thank you for this. Thank you, Frederick, for your presentation. I just want to introduce myself quickly. So my name is Jean-Luc Burmes. I'm the head of SME and real estate financing at Spokespeople. I'm also responsible for the Innofin program at Spokespeople. That's the European Guarantee Framework program for innovative companies. On the other side, I'm also a business angel as well. Therefore, I guess that I have an experience of startups as a banker and as an investor. But before I start my presentation, I just want to explain a couple of things. First, in these circumstances, this is not a promotional presentation for Spokespeople. I just want to give you a quick view of our measures and what we can offer for companies in general. Not for every company, but for a lot of companies. I'm convinced that the other Luxembourgish banks offer similar or identical measures. While I'm not only convinced, I know that some of our competitors offer similar measures. Secondly, banks can be a solution, but banks cannot help every company. I just want to clear that out. There are partial measures that we can offer to every client of us, but there are also measures that we can't offer to every company. We might be a part of the solution, but especially for startups, you also need to rely on the shareholders and the investors. Okay, just let me start the presentation. So, what are the measures that we have already implemented for our business customers? As the COVID virus continues to spread and considering the linked cash flow problems for a vast majority of companies here in Luxembourg, we have already taken 2 weeks ago a couple of measures to help the companies. The first thing is a moratorium on the loan and leasing repayment for a minimum period of 3 months, which can be extended to 6 months if the crisis takes longer than expected. Or maybe also we will see that if it will continue over 6 months, we will be able to extend it another couple of months. If you have a leasing or a loan with a fixed rate at Spokespeople, we also decided that we won't charge you with any breakage costs. So it will be free of charge. There will be no commission. As Frederick told you before, on the short-term working schemes, so where you can get from ADEM 80% of the normal salary is kept at 250% of the social minimum wage for unqualified workers. Nowadays, this amounts to 2,150 euros times 2.5. So what we can do is we will pre-finance a part of the salaries. To my understanding, and I just got this morning a confirmation, the new platform on the website of ADEM will be operational tomorrow, to my understanding. And therefore, you can apply for the short-term working scheme with the new platform starting tomorrow morning. However, in order to get the approval of the pre-financing of the salaries by Spurkis, well, honestly, we are concentrating our efforts on our existing customers. So basically, you need to have used the BCEE account for the payment of salaries in the past. And secondly, we need some kind of confirmation, some kind of approval that ADEM will repay you. Otherwise, if you are not eligible and we will help you to pay the salaries, it will be difficult to get reimbursed. What we also offer are credit facility that are partially guaranteed by the mutual insurance companies, Mutualité de Cautionnement or Mutualité de PME. Of course, in order to get an approval for some further credit facility, we need to understand why do you need it. Because on one hand, you will get the money back for the salaries of ADEM. And what we really have to understand is what is your financial needs. And secondly, how can you reimburse it? That's really important to understand. We have a certain responsibility. We have to understand that you have the capacity to reimburse. And of course, in order to understand that, we need the most recent financial statements and or business plan that gives us proof that you can repay the loan very quickly or within 3 years. We have permanent discussion with the Mutualité de Cautionnement. They do an amazing job. They are really doing a lot of effort, and well, we are really proud to work with them. Sorry, someone is calling me. Sorry about that. But that's not all. We are, as Frederick told you before, there are a lot of measures who will be announced in the next few days. As Frederick told you before, there will be the new state aid law that will be announced within the next few days. And we are already reading the projet de loi in order to see how we can pre-finance this aid. This is really, I guess, that will be a big move for the companies, and we hope that we can also assist clients and customers with this new aid, because definitely you need to pre-finance that as well. As Frederick told you also before, there will be new direct and indirect measures. They are being analyzed and considered by the government as we speak. There will be a big announcement apparently this night, this evening, and we are also looking how we can assist companies with these new measures. On the other side, we are also working on different new measures for companies, but we are definitely not allowed to talk about it until they are put in place. But we will do everything that's possible to assist as many as possible companies. So basically, that's what I really want to say. But I have one important last message that I want to share, is that what is really important, if you haven't done it yet, please contact your corporate relationship manager at your house bank. You can't change as a bank in this situation, in this crisis, because this is really a difficult moment also for banks to understand the business, and especially for startups, the compliance procedure is really complicated, and no bank has the time to analyze this. So this will take an immense time, and it will only slow down your assistance for help. So what I really suggest is that you contact your relationship manager at your house bank and try to discuss the measures that he can offer you. Basically, as I told you, every bank, at least I have a little certainty about BGL, BAL, and Bank Raiffeisen. They offer plus minus the same measures. I don't have any information about ING or Banque de Luxembourg, but they should, I can imagine they have plus minus the same measures that they offer. And my last word, and then we can pass to the question Q&A session. I honestly, I strongly believe that every bank is doing the best they can to help every client. But honestly, we can't save we can't help every company. Our main target is to limit the number of potential bankruptcies due to coronavirus. That's all from me. Thank you. If you have any question, you can ask them immediately. On the last side, you have my email address. Feel free to contact me by email. Don't contact me by telephone because I'm on the phone nearly 6 hours a day. So I'm really happy that I can relax my ear when I'm not need to take a call. So please feel free to contact me. If I can assist you directly, I will answer you immediately. If someone else can help you, I will forward your mail internally to the guys who can help you out. Many thanks. That's all for me, and I will give the word to Anthony or Nazir.
Very good. Thank you very much to both speakers. Now let's go straight into the Q&A session. So we have one question from Vanit. Vanit, you need to click on restoring your mic. Vanit, and then you can ask your question.
Hello.
Please go ahead.
Hey, I think my question was really simple about basically self-employed founders and smaller companies. I think the answer was this is going to be more information coming out today or on Friday.
Yes.
But I think that's kind of, you know, the audience on this this call is mostly probably self-employed or with 1 or 2 employees based in Luxembourg, and I think that would be very helpful if something on that could be shared. If there's nothing and we just have to wait, that's fine too.
Yeah, no, there is more to be announced, but of course it's the minister himself that will announce it. And once we have the information, we will share it with you. And as said, that includes self-employed people.
From my side, I can confirm you that our measures are not only limited to SMEs or startups in general, but also we are looking for self-employed people, because we know self-employed people, they only have their revenues, but they have the same difficulties in these times, and we also try to assist self-employed people.
Thank you.
Very good. Now we take another question from Gapur from governance. Gapur, please go ahead.
Yeah. Hello, Jean-Luc. Thanks both for your presentations. Jean-Luc, you mentioned that there will be help for rent capped at 10K. Is it an option of your bank, or is it linked with a state aid?
That's well, Fred, we can confirm that that's basically what we saw in the projet de loi, so the new law that will be voted. So on different websites, you can already have a look on the projet de loi. For instance, I saw it on the website, the Chamber of Commerce. So they do. They have to put their what they think about the law, and it was basically said that it's capped to 10,000 euros. But I'm not pretty sure if it's per month or for the whole duration. But we will hear more of that by this afternoon, by this evening.
Yeah.
There will be an announcement that will be made, and we will have definitely more information.
Yeah, and it's also you'd have to see. It's also not necessarily only one measure. It might be a package, because here it is really an de minimis aid that is then on a ceiling of 500,000. So there are more possibilities onto that one.
And do you think that the priority will be for only the HoReCa sector, so restaurants and retail stores, or for any kind of company?
No, there is no priority for one sector or the other. It's just for the short time unemployment where those that are directly affected by the government decision, they don't have to they have a simplified procedure, but in essence it's the same. And of course, with that measure, it's all the sectors that the government wants to support. I mean, we don't want to at the end that we only have restaurants but no other companies. I mean, it's very clear that all the that we are intended to support and really help the companies of all sectors of the economy.
I can confirm what Frederick was saying. If you read the projet de loi of the de minimis law, you see that they skipped SMEs and they replaced it in general by companies and self-employed people. Well, that's the projet de loi. What is that in the end? What will be decided is another point, but definitely the government will go in the direction to enlarge the target of companies to general companies and not only to SMEs or restaurants.
Okay, thank you. And another quick question, Frédéric, for the chômage partiel.
Yes.
We can file an online form, right?
For the chômage partiel, that is there's a very good question. There will be in the coming days, because everyone is working on this side, there will be a new platform where you can directly connect and directly file in electronically, which will then be a procedure that will be faster, of course, than it used to be before. What I urge everyone is to make sure that everyone has a looks trust access, because so far the information that we have so far is that the way of connecting to that platform where you can submit the request, that for that you would need a looks trust card. So if you don't have it, I would urge you to get one.
Okay.
Already today, you know.
Yeah. I have it. And if the deadline for the chômage partiel is it still 12th of
no,
that
month? Yeah, that is the procedure how it used to be before, which was a procedure that you, because you have to ask it to file for it for every month, and there was a rule prior to that said that you had to file always before the 12th of the month, but that one is not applicable, and we would urge you just to do it as swiftly as you can.
Very good.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you for your questions. Next off, we have Vlad Santea from Morphin.
Yeah, hi. So I have a question. I don't know if you already have the answer, but for the following case, when a company is a startup and is already in, let's say, due diligence with a VC who wants to invest in the startup. So the due diligence, let's say, started in January. Yeah, and now. In the last 2 weeks, they started just to postpone it and to, you know, they don't give a clear answer, but they are saying, okay, let's wait, and that can affect, you know, the cash flows and so on. So is there these cases when it has to bridge a gap between a next round of investing and which by some VC or private equity and so on is somehow postponed? Is this a case in which state aid can be applied or not?
Yeah, unfortunately, this is we don't have all the details of the aid, so we cannot confirm at the moment. Once we have all the information and that has gone public, we can certainly discuss your specific case.
As Frederick said, well, that's basically what we are waiting for. It's definitely the law and the measures that will be announced and what are the conditions. Well, I'm pretty sure that it's not a free cash that the state will give to the companies. There will be conditions and we have to see if the companies can fulfill those conditions. It's not free money, it's the money of the taxpayers, and we have to see how we can improve the situation of most companies. But as I said before, we have to fulfill the condition that the new law will give us. Thank you.
Thank you, Vlad.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
We have a question from Alex. Alex?
It's just regarding Vlad's question. Many of our companies are asking the same thing. Most of them have the investor dropping out or just postponing the investment. So on the Sparkes side, if they can have a loan, what would be the conditions? What would be the interest? I know with the government being partly guarantee of those loans, is it as difficult as usual to get a loan for a young startup?
Yeah, thank you for your question. It's also a good question. And as you said, it's really not easy for startups to get a loan at the bank. But well, we have to check honestly every loan application. And I can't tell you what will be the rate. The rate depends on the situation of the companies, how the bank feels, has a feeling for the company, if they feel secure, if the collaterals are okay. There are many possibilities. I'm also in discussion with the EIF because of the InnoFin program. They also are reconsidering what they can offer as complementary or supplement collaterals. As I said before, we also are working with the mutuality de cautionnement.
Exactly. If the government is taking part of the risk, I mean, the bank could also take part of the other risk. And the loan has been reimbursed in the next 12 months, if I understood.
The problem is we don't know what will be announced this evening.
Okay.
Send me an email and I will come back to you by tomorrow or within the next few days when I have more details.
Thank you so much.
I can't promise you anything, honestly. I would lying to you if I would say, that's no problem, everything is fine. No, that's not the case. But send me an email and I will come back to you when I have more information.
Thanks for your support, Jean-Luc.
Guys, could I, this is Nasser speaking. I just wanted to intervene very quickly, if I may. I apologize if I missed this bit of information, but I think it's to both Fred and to Jean-Luc.
Yes.
Processing times for these support schemes, processing times for the loan application. You know, a small business, even more so a startup, but a small business, a typical SME, is only holding cash for around 20 to 25 days on average. I mean, if they don't get some sort of liquidity to cover the period post that, they're in trouble.
So, I mean, you're really talking of a cap of a processing time of, you know, maximum sort of 15 to 20 days to be able to decide yes or no, and to provide them liquidity back to the SME. Are the government departments and the various support schemes, is BCEE and the banks, are they able to do that? Are they able to go with that kind of urgency and speed?
Yes.
From my point of view, I can tell you
Yeah.
that, well, we are aware that some measures from the government, we need its time. I can imagine that even if ADEM is giving the approval to pay the salaries, it will take a couple of days. So what we have decided is that we will take, as soon as we get the approval that the salaries are paid, the company can make the payment, and we will approve them internally. And even if there's an overdraft of the current account, that won't be a problem. Secondly, if a company has a loan or leasing at Spurcase, the moratorium will be decided within 1 day max. Also, if there's a loan, a credit facility approval for small amounts, we can take a decision within 1, 2, or 3 days. For larger amounts, okay, there will be a special credit committee, and they will take a decision within 1, max 2 weeks for more complicated documents, companies. Yeah.
Yeah, on the side of the government, we are adapting the procedures in order to be able to process all of it much swifter. Just the example of short-time work, where there will now be an electronic platform where everything will be applied. So it's uncomparable to how that one was processed before, and then the new aids, once they will come out, we also are already staffing ourselves internally in order to be able to process that very swiftly.
Okay, thanks, guys. That's appreciated. Obviously, I mean, the faster in these unprecedented times, and I know the government and everyone is trying to do great things in terms of the support, but really timing is getting to become absolutely critical. I mean, the support schemes are fantastic, but if they don't get to the SMEs in time, and we're not just talking about the fintechs and the other firms on this call, but the general businesses who have salaries to pay, suppliers to pay, overheads, etc., it could become a major issue. So anything that can be done working on speeding up process would be, I think, most appreciated by everyone. Anthony, I'll hand back to you.
Thank you, Nas. Thank you, Alex. Grégoire Yaken from Kuzmik, please go ahead. Grégoire?
Yes, hello. Just currently we are trying to acquire a profitable company in Africa, and we just received a direct answer from our bank saying, sorry, the credit department just informed us that they will not be funding any startup that invests in the market that is so far from Luxembourg. So my question is, are the measures right now only for Luxembourg company that have their business in Luxembourg? Because basically I think a lot of them, especially in the tech industry, we are globally exposed.
Okay, thank you, Grégoire. Well, I understand your situation, and well, it's difficult to give you a quick answer because honestly, we have to see case by case. Well, Spurcase is a Luxembourgish bank, and mostly our activity is in Luxembourg, but it doesn't consider what we are looking is if the company is in Luxembourg and if the activity basically is in Luxembourg. If there is a company that you are buying, which is in another country in Europe or abroad to Europe, that's not a reason why we shouldn't give you a financing. well, there might be other reasons, and I guess the same. I give you the same answer. If you are at Spok, you send me an email afterwards, and we can discuss it after the webinar.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We have a question from Victor. Please go ahead. Victor, please.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you very much for the presentation. There is a big point related to the FAIT regime, who should be reviewed. I think for ages now there is something in the pipe. And if there is a FAIT, now entrepreneurs are in very bad shape. So is there a quicker process now in order to make this happen quickly?
For everything that is related to FAIT at present, there is no update on that one. I would have to see with the colleagues of the Ministry of Justice who are in charge of this one. But I mean, we are now in a crisis for a bit more than a week. There have been so many measures that were taken. So let's see what. Whether this will be a measure to be taken, but at the present, what is our first and foremost priority is to save the companies with concrete measures. This is really now what we are doing in short term. And maybe this is a suggestion for the medium and long term to work onto this one. But now the priority of the government is really to save the companies with the measures that we presented and that will be announced very soon.
Okay, but if the people are going to fight, then they will not be able to build up a new company afterwards, up to now, at least. And I have a second question also related to the détachement. If we have some employees in Luxembourg working in Belgium, Pays-Bas, and so on, are they eligible to chômage partiel?
I'd have to check that one with our specialists on chômage partiel.
Okay.
It will depend on the contracts and some clauses in the contracts. But I'm not a specialist into that one. But I will try to find out the question.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have a question from Kambu Tian from Ibiza. Please go ahead. Tian, please.
Yes. Am I talking now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I am a business angel, and my question is not directly related to Ibiza, fortunately, but it's the same as Victor. Huh? So the answer is already done. The question is, will the entrepreneur who file for bankruptcy, how will they treat? Exactly the same question. And so it's for the medium term, the answer.
Say that again, please. We didn't hear you correctly.
Yes, I will stop some synchronization because usually Google is eating a lot of bandwidth. So I have the same question as Victor. Is there any special measure for the entrepreneur who may be in bankruptcy? Which is not the case for Ibiza. Once again, I insist on that.
Well,
I'm a business angel for many other companies.
Yeah. Well, should an entrepreneur be in the event that he falls under bankruptcy, we have a measure where the entrepreneur, as a self-employed manager of the company, could also file for unemployment. That is if that answers your question.
Yes, partially. It's not the only measure, but it helps. Okay. Yes.
Thank you, Etienne. Thank you. Okay, Declan, please go ahead. Declan. Declan. Please, you get 2 more seconds.
Hello, sorry. I have a quick question in terms of companies that don't actually have salaries. So we have a small company, we're with the BCEE. I spoke to them last Friday. We don't have salaries, but we basically have contracts with external programmers, so it's a B2B. The BCEE said to me on Friday that they didn't feel that a lot of the measures covered B2B, and it was primarily aimed at direct employees, and that the only solution they saw at that time was I take a personal loan. Is that still the latest status, that B2B is kind of outside a lot of this aid?
Well, as I said a couple of times, this isn't the case. Well, it depends on your application. I'd suggest this is really a particular question for your company. I suggest that you send me an email and I will check it internally what we can do for your company.
Okay.
This is too specific, and I see what you are writing in the chat, so this is really specific, and I need to talk internally and see how we can assist you, or if it's something that we can help you with.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Declan.
Sorry, may I just jump in again quickly? I think that's actually a very interesting question, because a lot of small businesses, particularly in the tech sector, often use contractors to develop their business. I mean, particularly at early stages of their business life. And under those contracts, they will still need to pay those contractors. But technically, that is not, as far as I understand it, classed as an employee. Fred, I mean, Jean-Luc, do the salary support schemes cover these contractors, or do they have to look for other ways of covering these costs?
So regarding the measure for partial unemployment, that one is only for employees.
From my point of view, well, we can offer a credit facility, but as we have to understand that the credit facility can be repaid. So if everything is positive, we can agree to a credit facility, but that's not the case in general. We have to check every application by itself.
Sure. Okay, thanks, guys. I appreciate that. I don't necessarily believe that credit facility is the right tool here, given that, you know, the whole point that may just make the situation a little bit worse for these firms. I mean, Fred, I don't know if you can, or maybe worthwhile looking into this a little bit, because this is a case, as I'm sure you're well aware, that occurs in a lot of young firms where they prefer to use contractors because it provides a little bit more flexibility. And as I said, under those contracts, they probably will still need to pay those people, regardless of whether they're using them or not. But in the case they are using them, obviously they do need to pay those people with little to no income coming in.
Of course, but here again, as we don't have, one cannot disclose all the details about the aids that will be released. We'd have to get back to that questions once this has been announced, to see whether there is a possibility or not.
All right, fantastic. Thanks, Fred. I appreciate that.
Okay, we take one last question from Apurva. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi guys, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, Frederick and Jean-Luc, thanks very much. And I apologize, I'm probably echoing Nasir's points as well as the other one, which that as young startups go, a lot of us use contractors for work. So we use contractors as sales reps for technology development, and we are required to pay those contractors or take a decision that we will cancel those contracts. So I do want to, it would be good to, I realize that we're working with incomplete information at this time, but if the ministry is sort of aware that young startups indeed rely on two things. One is external investors who I cannot travel to meet. That's a certain problem for me as a founder. And two, contractors for both sales as well as development. And they are based in the EU in many cases. But it's quite unclear as to whether these aids will help us pay our contractors that we have already, or if there are other aids available in different EU countries for those contractors themselves who we can pass on to. So again, it's not really a question because I understand that the information is not complete at this time, but it isn't. Many startups are in the same situation, I believe. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for echoing this. But if for instance, the contractors would be based in Luxembourg, they could then themselves benefit from the measures, being the contractors, being them self-employed contractors, or being them companies. And best cases, if they are a company with employees that supply that service to you, then they could benefit even from the partial unemployment.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're talking Croatia, Greece,
the
UK, etc. So
yeah, then in some
Sweden,
case, yeah, it depends on their country, how their countries can support them. Hopefully, they can as well.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Apurva. Frederic, any last words from your side? Same for you, Jean-Luc.
Maybe Jean-Luc, you can start.
Okay, well, thank you for this great opportunity to share some information with all the people who took part at this webinar. This was a really good initiative, and I have to say that I'm happy that I had the possibility to share some information with everyone who was taking part at this webinar. You should do that maybe with other subjects as well, because I think we saw that there were nearly 100 participants, and I guess they really need more information about the current situation and how people can help people. And this was a really good initiative. Many thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk. And I will give the last word to Frederic.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jean-Luc. Thanks to LHoFT, to Nazir, and to Anthony for making this happen. I think it's always interesting to have questions from entrepreneurs, because what we also try at the ministry is to gather the questions and put them into our Q&A, or if it's questions that where you don't have any answers to be able to provide the answers to you. So especially regarding the 8 measures that are soon to be released, and we will provide you with all the information. But let me reassure you and reiterate our really commitment to the startup community, to the fintech community from the side of the government, that we are really committed to help all of you with the best way that we can, with the measures that we are about to put in place. So that is really our message for today.
Jean-Luc and Frederic, thank you very much for putting on this call. The participants, thank you all for being there with some fantastic questions. I know it's a concerning time, and some of you are very specifics. I hope we addressed a lot of things on this call. We, as everyone I know in government, people like Fred, people like Jean-Luc at BCEE, as well as the other banks, are there. And as I said, a unique quality that I've not experienced anywhere else. This community wants to help. We're here in this boat together. Luxembourg matters to all of us. Reach out, and people are there, and everyone's trying to do their best. And as I said, if any other questions, we're always there for you. The team's there for you. Reach us at support@LHoFT.lu. Any ideas you may have in the ways that you want to contribute, maybe some ideas using fintech to provide other forms of tools and assistance to the economy, reach out to us on that email address. I'd like to just also say thank you to my team, particularly Anthony, for arranging this. And thank you again, Fred, Jean-Luc, and everyone that participated. We'll be holding some more, and whatever information, if you have ideas as to other sessions we should hold, let us know that as well. I'll just hand over to Anthony just to close this call. Thank you.
Thank you very much to both again. So we will close this webinar right now, this session, but we'll keep the Q&A section open for 10 more minutes. So if you have any question that comes to your mind, please leave it there, and then we will highlight the question and answers afterwards in the upcoming days. Thank you very much to both of you. Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Nasir. And to all the participants.